By 2050, humanity had conquered the solar system, but the universe had refused to answer back. Not a whisper, not a flicker, not a shadow of anything resembling an alien intelligence. The Fermi Paradox had become more than an intellectual curiosity. It was an existential dread. Telescopes, radio receivers, laser detection arrays, and even the gravitational wave monitors, all tuned to different slices of the universe's infinite soundscape, had returned nothing but cosmic white noise. Physicists, linguists, cryptographers, and machine learning specialists had spent decades dissecting the silence. They had anticipated at least an errant radio transmission, a stray burst of coherent laser light, or the unmistakable thermodynamic footprint of an engineered structure. The result? A great and unnerving zero. Then Dr. Ben Aldrich changed everything. Aldrich had been playing in the fringe of experimental physics when he discovered the particles. They weren't like anything else on the standard model. No mass, no charge, no interaction with normal matter, at least not directly. They operated in a realm that defied the fundamental laws of reality, slipping through the universe as if the 4 known dimensions were an optional feature. But most notably, they travelled faster than light. He called them quantum snares. At first, Aldrich's discovery was just another curiosity logged into the ever-growing encyclopedia of exotic particle physics. But as researchers examined the particle field's behaviour, they noticed something strange. Regular oscillations, rhythmic pulses embedded within the noise. They weren't just random quantum fluctuations. They were signals. And signals meant intelligence. The patterns repeated with eerie precision. At first, they were dismissed as naturally occurring waveforms. But after weeks of analysis, a chilling realization took hold. The vibrations were deliberate. In secret, linguists and codebreakers were assembled. The first breakthrough came when they identified distinct linguistic structures: syntax, grammar, repetition. It wasn't one language, it was many. One particular pattern stood out among the cacophony of signals: simple, hopeful messages from developing alien civilizations. Roughly translated, they said, "Hello, we are here, we come in peace." But those were the minority. The majority was something else. A grim, structured transmission that repeated itself over and over in a highly efficient, standardized linguistic form. A message that was neither a greeting nor an invitation. It was a warning, or worse, an announcement. The signals, once decrypted, revealed the workings of an interstellar civilization whose purpose was singular: locate, conquer, enslave. They spread across the galaxy, seeking out species that had just stepped onto the interstellar stage, vulnerable and unaware. Their process was methodical. Identify newly emerging civilizations, subjugate them, strip mine their planets for resources, both material and biological. Entire species disappeared under their dominion, and based on the astronomical coordinates embedded in the messages, their reach was millions of light years wide. What made it worse was the desperation in the counter-signals. Less advanced species, on the cusp of spacefaring capability, sent out frantic, pleading transmissions, calling for help, offering up their entire scientific knowledge base in a desperate bid for survival. The galaxy was littered with these final broadcasts, unanswered distress calls from civilizations wiped clean from existence. Humanity had spent centuries wondering where everyone was. Now, they knew. The revelation hit Earth like a tidal wave. Scientists, military strategists, policymakers, and secret agencies convened in underground meetings, arguing over the next move. If humanity responded, if they dared to whisper into the void, they might as well paint a target on themselves. And so, the decision was made. Humanity would go silent. Every transmission, every outgoing signal, every detectable anomaly was shut down. Every radio telescope, every deep space probe, every artificial satellite emitting anything beyond passive observation, decommissioned or rerouted to avoid detection. The Earth and its colonies would pretend to be what they had been for most of history: insignificant, unnoticed, a quiet little corner of the universe. But they would listen. They would collect every scrap of knowledge from the desperate final broadcasts of other civilizations. They would learn the tactics of the enemy, the weaknesses hidden within their dominion, and the weapons forged by those who had fought and failed before. Because one day, the enslavers would come, and when they did, humanity wouldn't be sending a distress call. They would be ready. The first real test of humanity's silence came in 20057. A rogue AI from a breakaway lunar colony attempted to transmit a deep space probe's location back to Earth using old encrypted military frequencies. Within hours, the global defense network had intercepted and shut it down, its transmission abruptly cut mid-burst. The AI was dismantled, and strict protocols were reinforced. Nothing escapes the silence. Meanwhile, in the hidden research stations of Titan and Europa, scientists worked tirelessly to decipher the vast libraries of alien data gathered from long-extinct civilizations. Blueprints for energy weapons, quantum defense grids, and hyperspace disruption fields filled classified servers. The data was fragmented, often incomplete, but it provided invaluable insights. Then came the first anomaly, a signal, one unlike the others, originating from deep in interstellar space. It wasn't a distress call. It wasn't an enslaver broadcast. It was something different. A ghostly whisper in the quantum snare field, barely detectable, as if whoever sent it didn't want to be found. It simply said, "You are not alone." The silence had been broken. But by whom? The message had no coordinates, no response frequency. It was a whisper that vanished as quickly as it appeared, as if it had been smuggled through the background noise of the universe. The best cryptographers on Earth worked to reconstruct its origin, but it was impossible. The sender had buried their tracks too well, but the message itself had implications. Somebody else had survived. A secret council convened deep beneath the Martian surface, where humanity's war preparations had been accelerating in underground facilities. Was this a trap? A deception by the enslavers to lure them into exposing themselves? Or was there truly another force out there, resisting in the dark? A decision was made. Carefully, using the most subtle and undetectable quantum entanglement methods available, humanity whispered back, "We are listening." Weeks passed, then months. No response. Maybe their whisper had gone unheard, lost in the infinite void. Or maybe, just maybe, someone was deciding whether to trust them. Then, at last, another message came. Coordinates. Deep in the void, between two long-dead stars, lay something that shouldn't exist. A hidden place. A secret war. A battlefield where the enslavers had met resistance. And humanity had just been invited to join. Humanity's secret reconnaissance fleet, built in the shadow of the gas giants, was dispatched to the coordinates in absolute silence. What they found defied expectations. A shattered planet, its surface scarred by ancient battles, its orbit littered with the remains of ships from dozens of species. Amidst the wreckage, something remained active. A hidden bastion of survivors. A desperate alliance, huddled in the remains of their broken worlds, fighting a war humanity had never imagined. They were the last free civilizations, bound together in defiance of the enslavers. The choice was clear. Humanity could remain hidden, prolonging their safety but guaranteeing nothing. Or they could act, join the resistance, and strike where the enslavers least expected it. The decision was made. Stealth fleets moved. Quantum snares whispered back. And for the first time in galactic history, the enslavers would face an enemy they had never accounted for. A species that had not sent a distress call. A species that had spent years preparing in the dark. A species that, when the time came, would not beg for mercy.